What if I told you that everything you've been taught about confidence, everything from standing tall to faking it till you make it, is not just ineffective but completely backward? And what if I told you the key to confidence isn't in changing who you are, but in understanding a shocking, counterintuitive truth about human psychology that almost no one talks about? Here's the reality. Confidence isn't about being fearless. It isn't about being perfect. And it definitely isn't about pretending you have your life together. The people who exude psychopathically, unshakable confidence don't rely on tricks or hacks. They understand a principle so powerful and misunderstood that it's almost unsettling. True confidence isn't built by conquering fear. It's built by mastering uncertainty. Let me explain the unexpected truth about confidence. You've probably been told confidence means knowing what to say, looking good, or being prepared for any situation. But here's what no one will tell you. The most confident people aren't confident because they know what will happen. They're confident because they don't care what happens. Think about that for a second. Truly confident people don't walk into a room calculating how they'll impress everyone or rehearsing lines in their heads. They don't waste energy trying to control every variable. Instead, they walk into uncertainty and say, "Whatever happens, I'll handle it." This mindset isn't just empowering, it's liberating. Because when you stop obsessing over outcomes, you start focusing on what actually matters. Your ability to adapt, to pivot, to be unapologetically yourself in any situation. And here's where it gets interesting. Confident people don't avoid fear. They actually invite it. They see fear as a signal, not a stop sign. Every time they feel uncomfortable, they lean into it because they know that discomfort is where growth happens. Let's be real, most of us are terrified of failing, looking stupid, or being judged. But here's a wild perspective that might change how you think about failure forever. Confidence isn't about avoiding embarrassment, it's about embracing it. The more you expose yourself to situations where you could fail, the less power failure holds over you. The power of radical self-acceptance. Here's another truth that might sting a little. Most people aren't confident because they're too busy trying to be someone they're not. They waste their lives wearing masks, hoping to fit in, terrified of being rejected if they show their true selves. But here's the twist. The people who are the most magnetic, the most respected, and yes, the most confident, are the ones who are fully themselves. They don't apologize for their quirks, flaws, or differences. They own them. You want to know why this works? Because authenticity is rare. We live in a world where everyone is trying to look perfect, sound perfect, and live perfect lives on Instagram. But the truth is, perfection is boring. Flaws make you human. When you show up as your true self, messy, imperfect, and real, you give people permission to do the same. And that's where real confidence comes from. Not from trying to impress others, but from knowing you don't have to. The secret of quiet control. Now here's the part no one talks about. True confidence doesn't scream. It doesn't need to announce itself. It's quiet, it's steady. It's the person in the room who doesn't say much, but when they do, everyone listens. This kind of confidence isn't loud because it doesn't need to prove anything. It's rooted in one thing. Knowing your value doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion. Let me say that again. Your value isn't up for debate. When you internalize this, everything changes. You stop reacting to people's opinions, and you start setting the tone. You stop chasing validation, and you start attracting respect. Before we dive deeper, I want to challenge you to do something that might make you uncomfortable. But trust me, it's worth it. This week, I want you to do one thing that you would normally avoid because of fear. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting. Maybe it's approaching someone you admire. Maybe it's saying no to something you don't want to do. Whatever it is, I want you to lean into the discomfort and remind yourself, whatever happens, I'll handle it. Why? Because every time you step into fear, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than you think. And that, my friend, is how you start building psychopathically confident foundations. Stay tuned, because in the next section, I'm going to show you the 5 psychological principles that will completely change how you think about confidence. These principles aren't just practical. They're backed by science and used by some of the most powerful, influential people in the world. Don't miss it. 1. Turn fear into your greatest ally. Let's start with the principle that most people get wrong. Fear is not your enemy. In fact, fear is your best teacher, if you're willing to listen. Here's the problem. Most people see fear as a stop sign. They think, if I feel scared, I must not be ready. But the truth is, fear isn't a sign to stop. It's a signal that you're about to grow. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly alive? I'm not talking about watching Netflix or scrolling through TikTok. I mean that moment when your heart was racing and you knew you were stepping into something big. Maybe it was a new job interview, starting a business, or asking someone out. Fear is your body saying, pay attention, this matters. But instead of leaning into it, most people back away and they miss the lesson fear was trying to teach. Here's how to flip the script. Instead of avoiding fear, reframe it as a compass. If something scares you, it's probably pointing you toward an area where you have the most room to grow. The more you expose yourself to fear, the less it controls you. Want proof? Look at elite performers, athletes, CEOs, and even Navy SEALs. They don't avoid fear, they practice operating in it. They step into high-pressure situations again and again until they rewire their brains to see fear as excitement instead of danger. Here's a practical exercise. The next time fear creeps in, ask yourself this simple question. What's the worst that could happen? Most of the time, the answer isn't as catastrophic as you imagine. And even if the worst happens, remind yourself, you're capable of handling it. 2. Detachment from outcomes, the ultimate power move. Here's something most people will never understand. Confidence isn't about always winning. It's about being okay with losing. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But think about the most confident people you know. They're not desperate to succeed in every interaction or situation. They're calm, composed, and unbothered by outcomes because they've mastered the art of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're not ruled by the outcome. Whether you win or lose, succeed or fail, your sense of self remains intact. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people walking into a high-stakes meeting. Person A has everything riding on this presentation. They've built it up in their mind as make or break, and you can feel their tension the moment they walk in. Person B, on the other hand, is cool as a cucumber. They want to nail the presentation, but they're not desperate. Why? Because they know that no single event defines their value. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't, they'll learn, adjust, and move on. Guess who's more likely to succeed? It's person B. Because their detachment allows them to focus on the task instead of their anxiety. Detachment gives you freedom. When you're no longer obsessed with outcomes, you can take risks, be bold, and make decisions from a place of strength instead of fear. Here's how to practice it. Start small. The next time you're in a situation where you'd normally feel pressure, like a date, a pitch, or a conversation, remind yourself, this doesn't define me. Whether it goes well or not, you'll still be you, and you'll still be valuable. 3. Psychological judo, neutralizing criticism with ease. Now let's talk about criticism, the thing that stops most people from ever stepping out of their comfort zones. Here's the reality. You will be criticized. It doesn't matter how smart, talented, or kind you are, someone will always have something negative to say. But here's the twist. Confident people don't fight criticism. They absorb it. Like a martial artist using an opponent's strength against them, they turn criticism into fuel. Here's how it works. When someone criticizes you, your instinct is probably to defend yourself. But what if instead you agreed with them? For example, if someone says, you're not qualified for this job, you could respond with, you might be right, I'm still learning. Or if someone says, your idea is crazy, you could say, it definitely is, I like crazy ideas. When you agree with criticism, two things happen. 1, you disarm the critic. They expect resistance. But when you embrace their words, they have nowhere to go. Number 2, you own the narrative. Instead of reacting emotionally, you control the conversation. This doesn't mean you blindly accept every critique. It means you're secure enough to acknowledge feedback without letting it shake you. Now you've got 3 powerful tools to start building psychopathically confident foundations, turning fear into growth, detaching from outcomes, and mastering criticism with psychological judo. Here's what I want you to do today. Pick just one of these principles and put it into action. Whether it's leaning into fear, letting go of an outcome, or embracing criticism, start small. In the next section, We'll explore how to build internal worth and why generosity is secretly one of the most powerful confidence hacks in the world. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. 4. Building internal worth, why your value is non-negotiable. Here's something no one ever teaches you. Your worth as a person isn't tied to your achievements, your looks, or the number of followers you have on Instagram. Let that sink in for a moment. Most people chase confidence like it's something they need to earn through success, validation, or approval. But psychopathically confident people know a truth that changes everything. Your value is intrinsic. It's not something you prove, it's something you realize. Let's break this down. Think about a $100 bill. It doesn't matter if it's brand new, crumpled, or even torn at the edges, it's still worth $100. Your value works the same way. No matter what happens to you, no matter how much life crumples you up, your worth remains the same. But here's the catch. You have to believe it before anyone else will. Confident people project value because they've already decided they're valuable. This belief creates a ripple effect. People treat you based on how you treat yourself. Here's how to start building internal worth. 1. Stop tying your value to external markers. Whether it's your job, your relationship, or your social status, these things can all change. Your worth doesn't. 2. Set personal standards. Decide what you will and won't accept from others. Boundaries aren't just for relationships, they're a declaration of self-respect. 3. Celebrate small wins. You don't need a big promotion or a life-changing moment to feel proud of yourself. Confidence grows when you recognize and appreciate even the smallest steps forward. The moment you stop negotiating your value with the world, you become unshakable. And the irony? When you stop seeking validation, people start offering it freely. 5. The surprising link between confidence and generosity. Here's a secret most people don't realize. Truly confident people aren't focused on themselves. They're focused on others. That might sound counterintuitive. After all, isn't confidence about believing in yourself? Yes. But here's the twist. When you're secure in your worth, you no longer need to hoard attention, validation, or resources. This creates space for you to give freely, and generosity has a magnetic effect. Why? Because generosity signals abundance. It shows you're not operating from a place of fear or scarcity. People are drawn to those who lift others up, not those who constantly try to outshine them. Think about someone you admire, maybe a mentor, a leader, or a friend. Chances are, they're the kind of person who listens more than they talk, who offers help without expecting anything in return, and who celebrates others' successes as much as their own. Here's how generosity builds confidence. 1. It shifts your focus outward. When you're helping others, you're less consumed by self-doubt or insecurity. 2. It creates meaningful connections. Generosity deepens relationships, which strengthens your social support system, a key factor in long confidence. 3. It reinforces your value. When you see the positive impact you can have on others, it reminds you of your inherent worth. Generosity doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as complimenting someone sincerely, sharing your knowledge, or lending a hand when someone's struggling. The more you practice it, the more confident you'll feel, not because of how others respond, but because of how it aligns with your values. The quiet confidence of generosity. Let me tell you something powerful. Confident people don't compete. They collaborate. They know there's enough success, respect, and opportunity to go around, so they don't feel threatened by others. Imagine you're at work and a colleague comes to you for advice. An insecure person might hold back, afraid that sharing knowledge will make them less valuable. But a confident person shares freely, knowing that their expertise isn't diminished by helping someone else succeed. When you operate from this mindset, you become the kind of person others trust and admire. Your confidence becomes contagious, and you naturally attract opportunities and relationships that elevate you. The 3 questions that will change how you see confidence. To wrap this up, I want to leave you with 3 questions. Reflect on these daily, and they'll reshape how you think about confidence. 1. What's one thing I can do today that scares me just a little? 2. How can I add value to someone's life without expecting anything in return? 3. Am I treating myself with the same respect and kindness I offer others? Confidence isn't a destination, it's a practice. Every time you lean into fear, Let go of outcomes, neutralize criticism, build your worth, or give generously. You're reinforcing the foundation of psychopathically unshakable confidence. Final thoughts. Your confidence journey starts now. Here's the most important thing to remember. Confidence isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you already are. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't need to control every situation. What you need is the courage to show up, the resilience to keep going, and the generosity to lift others along the way. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of 99% of people. You're thinking differently, challenging yourself, and stepping into a mindset most people never even consider. Now it's time to take action. Pick one principle from this video and start applying it today. Confidence isn't built by watching, it's built by doing. And remember, confidence isn't loud, it's quiet, it's steady, it's yours for the taking. Let me know in the comments which principle resonates with you the most. And if you're ready to transform your life, hit the like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. See you in the next one.